This session is your chance to dive deeper into our Bachelor of Engineering program, where innovation meets real-world impact. We're all about improving life at Guelph Engineering. Whether you're passionate about solving global challenges, developing some cutting-edge tech, or creating some sustainable solutions, this program can set you on your path to becoming a future engineer. So let's get started. So I'll begin by bringing some attention to that QR code on this page. That is to get the digital version of our brochure. You can do so through the website as well, or by scanning this code. Throughout this session, I'll be providing you with an overview of our engineering program and our unique 8 majors. We had 7, but now we have 8. We'll talk to our 4 current students, our panelists, about what it's like being an engineering student at Guelph and at U of G as a whole, I guess. And then we'll enter a Q&A. We do have Leslie Jump here from the admissions team for international, and they can answer any of your questions. So if you have any admissions type questions, you can enter those in the chat through the session, and she can answer those for you. First, though, I'll introduce myself. So I am Hilary Royackers. I am the recruitment officer for the engineering department at the University of Guelph. I'm from a small town of Bellwood, which is about 40 minutes north of Guelph, where the university is situated. I worked at the University of Guelph for 7 years, and I have a mixed background of marketing, photography, graphic design, promotions, and content creation. And what I love most about our campus is that it is green. Everywhere you walk is a great place to be, and you'll see that through many of the pictures. So, engineering is a direct entry program. I like to state this because a lot of programs at other universities, you will choose year 1 engineering and then declare your major later on in second year. Guelph is a little bit different. So you choose your major directly through the application process. So we have 8 majors to choose from at Guelph. They include biological, biomedical, computer, systems and computing, enviro, water, mechanical, and new to fall 2025 is our mechatronics engineering. And it is important to note that all of our majors are offered in co-op. So now I'm going to briefly summarize each of our 8 majors. There's the first 4 on this page and the second 4 on the next. First, we have biological engineering. This is a blend of biochemical engineering and environmental engineering. So if you have any interest in chemical engineering, or that's sort of where you're swaying, we don't offer chemical, biological would be the choice for you at Guelph. This is where you'll also find food processing, sustainable product development, a little bit of agriculture. And if you're thinking cosmetic world, we've got innovative cosmetics, vegan leathers as well in the fashion industry, and biodegradable food packaging. Next is biomedical engineering. It's for students that are interested in human and animal health. So this will include, next to veterinary practices, of course, but it includes sports, rehab, accessibility devices, and bioinstrumentation. Next is our 2 computer-based majors. So computer engineering is for the students that are interested in building computing machines. It focuses on hardware and software design. And engineering systems and computing is for our systems thinkers. So it includes a blend of mechatronics and software development. These next 4, I'll start with mechanical engineering. This is our most general major. So if you're not sure what major to enter, mechanical is a good start. It is also the most widely recognized major across most industries. Mechanical students can focus on various areas, including sustainable energy, manufacturing, a little bit of mechatronics as well, and biomechanics. Mechatronics is next. So this is our new major. It is a mix of mechanical systems, electronics, artificial intelligence, machine learning, all of that future stuff. It will focus on innovative solutions as well as smart automation. Next is our 2 environmental themed majors. We have environmental and water resources engineering. So these are actually 2 niche areas of civil engineering. So if you're coming in here looking for civil, which we have yet to offer as a major, these are 2 great options for our students. These are for the students that care about things like environmental sustainability, minimizing that environmental impact, and there are advocates for global change. You'll enjoy these disciplines if you like to be outside as well. So next is our Common Core. So like I said before, we are direct entry, but that doesn't mean that you don't share a lot of programs or courses that your peers do. So it doesn't have that year one engineering, but students share the 8 common core foundation courses that are on the left. And on the right are the courses that differentiate you by major in your first year. So as an example, if you take bio, biomed, enviro, or water, you will take all the 8 on the left, and then the intro to programming and that second chemistry on the right. Next is design at Guelph. Design is like the backbone of engineering at Guelph. We used to call it our engineering interdisciplinary design spine. So this is 4 courses that you will take, 1 each year of study, and they're mixed majors. So you're not coming in as a mechanical student and sticking with mechanical students through the design process at Guelph. You're in mixed major teams. So year 1 has students building and programming a small vehicle. Second year focuses on prototype design, building a 3D printed Kinder Egg toy, if you're familiar with Kinder Eggs. The third year has students working on problem definition. So you define a problem completely and then design a solution around that. And that is a report and a presentation. And then the final year, it all comes together in a final capstone design project where students make these really large posters, prototypes, and they set them up. They line the halls of our building, and it's a trade show style event called Design Day. And we bring in between 90 and 100 industry judges, and you present your project about 3 times. In addition to these design courses, you'll see this list at the bottom. This list is a list of extra design courses that you will take. This isn't all of them, but this is some of them. The colored dots beside each one just show you which major would take that design course. Next is the co-op and regular stream. So in addition to choosing your major when you apply for your program at Guelph, you will also choose whether you want the co-op stream or the regular stream. The regular stream is a typical university degree. It is 4 years with all of your summers off, and that co-op stream has an additional 5th year with 20 months of co-op experience. That first co-op work term, I should say, does not start until after you've put in 2 full years as a student at Guelph. So you've put in 4 academic semesters before your first co-op, which is a short 4-month work term. I often get questions about how co-op works at Guelph. So at Guelph, we have co-op coordinators. Just for engineering, we have 4 of them. And they link you up with a co-op portal, and that is linked with jobs that are matching your discipline. So if you're in environmental engineering, you're going to get all of the enviro-themed jobs. Now you can apply to any of them, all of them, or none of them. You can go and find your own co-op as well. So we have a great team that is there to support you, but ultimately we don't call them placements at Guelph because we still teach students to go through the process of finding a work term. So that includes resume building, interview preparation, and getting students ready for that next big step to securing a position. Next is student supports. So student supports are available in various ways and many ways on campus and within engineering. So in engineering specifically, we have faculty and TAs that are there for students. We've got 3 program counselors, and they take walk-in appointments. You can book appointments online. Virtual appointments are very handy. We've had those since COVID. And as well as we have a student group called the Engineering Peer Helpers. So these are a group of upper year students in paid roles. So you could be an engineering peer helper once you hit 3rd or 4th year, and they're there to help the students that are coming into 1st and 2nd year, setting up study groups, helping with assignments and projects and things like that. Additional resources are available to students across campus as well, in the form of student wellness, accessibility services, and many student support services. All right, so I'm going to take this time now to let our attendees know that while engineering is a very intensive program, and I'm sure our students will attest to that when they come on, it is important to let you know that engineering is more than academics. It's important to take time to expand your connections on campus, make time for social activities, and get involved. And one of those ways is to join a club. We have about 12 of them on campus that are active. Including Griffin Racing Team, we've got Concrete Toboggan Team, EngiQueers, Wise, Robotics, IEEE, Cheers and Gears, and many more. When I do introduce them, if they could expand on any clubs that they've been a part of, that would be great. One of the big clubs as well as the Guelph Engineering Society, which is like a student council on campus, and it's one of the ones that sort of organizes everything in the student world in engineering. Next is our graduate programs. I won't go too much into these, but I will mention that we do have 3 graduate programs. So we have the Masters of Engineering, the MEng, we have a Master of Applied Science, the MASC, and we have a PhD program. All right, so now it is time to introduce our students. First, we have Bhavneet. I'll ask that you introduce yourself, say where you're from, maybe give a brief snippet of the process that it took to get to Guelph, what you love about Guelph, and anything else you think students need to hear.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you very much. Thank you everyone for joining. My name is Bhavneet. I'm a 4th year computer engineering student. Done 2 co-op terms so far. I'm from Jammu and Kashmir, India. Choosing Guelph was not a very difficult decision for me. I'm a person who is not very studious. I won't say I'm lazy and lethargic, but what does that mean is, like, with studies, I'm a person who wants to get involved in extracurricular activities. And I was looking for that balance in any university. And it will surprise you, but this was the only university that attracted me with the top-notch academics and as per the extracurricular activities so far. And this proved me. I started as a student in my 1st year, went on to become a student leader with a social media ambassador in my 2nd year. In 3rd year, I started my journey as a residence assistant, warden, as it is called in different countries. And recently, I just completed my term for Vice President Academic for University of Guelph Student Council. So this whole journey, I feel like, had a great start, had a great platform where I got opportunities. And I believe that Guelph was my best decision where I came onto, because as an international student, it's very hard to find a place which you can call your second home. But Guelph has all the resources that helps you navigate your way. And that's why I said that Guelph engineering isn't just about the books. It's about balancing top-notch academics with opportunities that let you explore and grow beyond the classroom. I was clueless where I want to start in my 1st year, but I joined University of Guelph Robotics Club, joined as a member, left the group as a vice president external. I joined the IEEE group, the Institute for Electrical and Electronics Engineers, started as a member, completed my term as a vice president last year. So that's what I'm talking about. You get a lot of experience, you get a lot of leadership opportunities, and you get ready for the real world. And the design program is the best program, I'll say, we have at University of Guelph, because you get practical experience, hands-on experience, what you will be going to do after 4 years. So you just don't study, you collaborate with all the engineering disciplines and on campus and make something as exciting as I made a robot in my very 1st year, an automatic car, an automatic ship, which helped me get a lot of interest in the upcoming engineering terms. And I'll finish by telling you about my co-ops. I did 2 co-ops. One was at University of Guelph as an IT technician, and the other one was at a betting company, The Score, as a software analyst. Thank you.
That's awesome. Thank you, Bhavneet. I'm going to skip over the next student because she was unable to make it today. So we're going to speak to Naila next. So please, in a similar fashion, I guess, tell us how your journey was to Guelph and what you love most about campus.
Hi, I'm Naila. I think that the slide kind of really encapsulate why I chose Guelph. I'm from a teeny tiny island. It's called Barbados, and as big as it is to me, the opportunities there are not as grand. So I decided to come to Guelph to have access to those opportunities, job-wise or otherwise, and explore my different passions around technology and the machinery available here. I think that I came in COVID, so it was really hard because it wasn't as accessible, the people or the community here. But I found even though it wasn't oh my goodness, it's right in front of me, there were still so many people who would come and guide me through it. So there was Start International, and I met a lot of friends through Start International. And then there was the CCC, and they really like guided me. And I started there my first year. Now I'm the financial officer there. So if you decide to come to Guelph, please come join us as a Caribbean student. We love, love, love introducing our new students there. I'm involved in so many different things. I am so busy. But I'm vice president on the Engineering Society. As she said, we do a lot of things around campus. My job is mostly like listening to what feedback y'all have based on like how y'all want things to look, or how you want to feel involved, or how you want to feel represented, and just putting that into practice. We're supposed to have a football tournament next semester to potentially raise money for Alzheimer's. I'm lead choreographer of Choosing Gears, because I think that just because I'm an engineering student does not mean that I cannot do musical theater. I cannot sing and I cannot act. So I am currently in the lead choreographer role because I can do that. And I have found such a good community there. And I can't stress enough about community at Guelph, because really and truly, like, I have felt so like welcomed, so like represented. So it's like, I cannot stress it enough. And then I wanted to at some point become a physical therapist. And I was like, okay, how can I do that? And Guelph allowed me to become a volunteer, even though I'm in an engineering program. And I think I'm the only engineer in the entire volunteer program. They were really like, okay, you can come and try it. And I think that Guelph has allowed me to like try everything that I wanted to try. So yeah, I think that's my spiel about Guelph.
That's great. Thank you, Naila. And lastly, we have Simran. I know you're not an international student. Your hometown is Mississauga, Ontario. I think it's still important to represent our domestic students. I know students are coming from all over the world, and they expect to see born and raised Canadians. So welcome to our session.
Yeah, I grew up in Mississauga, which is, I guess, close by Toronto. Um, I'm going to Guelph I'm in my fourth year of environmental engineering in the co-op program. Kind of talking about how I chose Guelph. Um, for me, I really wanted to do something in the environment, and I took a lot of science-based courses and math-based courses in high school. And I thought engineering was something that I would want to do. For me, it was kind of deciding about either going to Guelph or Enviro Eng or Waterloo. And overall, I'm very glad that I chose Guelph over Waterloo. Um, Especially like Naila talked about a lot about it, but I think it's the community at Guelph that really made me stick here. I find it's very supporting and encouraging rather than competitive in a sense. And I I truly would like to vouch for the design course that we have. I actually didn't know that Guelph was kind of one of the only schools that had a design-based course every single year. Um, and on top of that, it being interdisciplinary, so getting the chance to just work with other disciplines, it's something that you get in the real world. So it's great that as undergraduate students, we get the chance to like be a part of that every single year. Um, I also really like that Guelph is a very green campus. There's a lot of green initiatives that you see on our campus that you just don't see at other schools. And I think as like an environmental engineer, I really, really appreciate that as a school that it's something that we can do. I also would like to add on to what Naila said. It's if there's something that you want to do, I feel like Guelph welcomes and gives you the opportunity to kind of explore that. I've had the chance to be on like tons of different clubs throughout my career, um, just to kind of try everything out. I've been on ESW, so that's Engineers for a Sustainable World, and they do a lot of great initiatives and projects. If there's something that you want to see done, you bring it up, and everyone's like very supportive to collaborate with you and kind of make your project come to life. Um, I've been on Y, so that's the Women in Science and Engineering Club, and I've found a very great community within that. Just it's something that kind of sparked my passion into leadership and mentorship. So Right now I'm like a big sister, so it's a program that the WISE Club does where upper years can kind of mentor first years and second years going into engineering. So you get a sense of community and kind of someone behind your back supporting you and encouraging you along the way. Um, I guess also non-engineering related, I'm on the Guelph women's flag football team. So it's kind of like a newer club that's and started within the past like 2 or 3 years, and I found great community non-engineering as well. So really great balance, really great opportunities that you'd be able to get at the University of Guelph.
Awesome. I'm going to go into just sort of like a short Q&A with each of you, and you can sort of jump in if you want to talk about that topic. So talking about design again, because I know design is one of the most favorite aspects of our program, sort of across the board with all students. Do any of you have a favorite design course, and what did you make? What was it like working with your team across majors? Feel free to jump right in. Go ahead, Simran.
Yeah, I guess I can start. So I haven't taken design 3 yet, just because the co-op sequence, I'm going to be taking it next semester. So I guess to choose from year 1 and year 2, I really love design 2. Um, it was like really hard, but I learned so much from it. It involved a lot of SolidWorks building and um a lot of like organization and collaboration with our team. We had to reverse engineer a sewing machine as part of the project and create a Kinder Egg design. So the theme of our year was video games. So me and my group created like I don't know if you guys know the game Angry Birds, but like an Angry Birds launcher. Um, at the end, our project didn't end up working, but it was a huge learning process and a learning curve along our team, and just kind of time management, learning time management, organization, and just really building a lot of SolidWorks skills, which I really, really enjoyed doing. It was tough, but it was something that was still very fun and very manageable to do as a team.
Nina or Naila, do you have any favorite design courses?
Yeah, sure. Um, I would have said design too, as Simran said, but my project didn't work either. Um, I I love what I love in design courses is with whatever semester I take design courses, I love the sleepless nights that we do, because we as a team we sit together and we voluntarily decide to not to sleep and to work on that because those projects are that interesting. Because it blew up my mind in my first year, as I mentioned, that I'm going to make a robot without any knowledge beforehand, because it is my first semester, my first year. But that really drives me to think more innovative in the real world, because that is not spoon fed. These design courses are not spoon fed. This is more on what you think would be ethical for the society, but what do you think is innovative for your project, and that makes you think like an engineer. And from that onwards, from my first design course to my second design course, when we made a game too, we made an sort of an Angry Bird game too, but it was like a monkey design. We designed a game um, where our monkey pulls the catapult and throws it on a block of things. Um, didn't work with that efficiency, but I'm so glad that we made everything from scratch on designing 3D modelings, making it work, doing all the physics and calculations that how much we have to pull, what the force has to be, how far it will go. So it makes me feel like an engineer, and that's what I'm glad of.
That's great. Naila, did your toy work?
My toy did work, actually. It didn't
Okay.
work well. So like there's some criteria that you have to like follow. Like you have to like get it like all 2.5 meters or something. So I just didn't go all the way. But it did go across the table. It just didn't like go over the table. I really enjoyed design too. I think I have done design. I have done design 3, and it's more research focused, like you're preparing for your like big design in design 4. So I would say like the hands-on experience, the interdisciplinary experience that you gain in design 1 and design 2. Like I didn't know SolidWorks before I went into design 2, and then I had a mechanic in my group, and he knew all about SolidWorks. So it was like getting to learn from him on seeing like, oh, the tricks that you could do in SolidWorks. And now I really like SolidWorks actually. That and AutoCAD I think are like my favorite programs, but irrelevant. Yeah, so I really enjoy the like learning from other people that you get in the design, and I was always placed in a group, so I never got to like pick my group. But it, even though I like was just put in those groups, it was really fun to just like gain that experience from other people.
That's amazing. So I'm going to actually move on to the next few slides here just to talk about international student support, and then we'll open up the Q&A at the end just to sort of keep things going. So Leslie, if you want to jump in for any of these, feel free to do that. I'll just sort of summarize these last slides that international team has asked us to put at the end of our webinar. So I'm just going to summarize some useful information for you. U of G has that program that they call START that one of our students did mention. So it's called START International. This is the collection of programs and events that help you transition or make that transition to Canada and to the University of Guelph. It includes a lot of programs and sessions that prepare you for everything from the expectations and immigration, orientation, and any on-campus opportunities and the upcoming activities as you go through the like the welcome weeks. In addition to the support mentioned earlier, there are year-round support and resources for our international students. We encourage you all to reach out to our international student advisors should you need any additional support. So those people at the bottom of this page here, Ernest and Matthew, they are 2 of our international student advisors that you can find and connect with if you have any questions. Lastly, we want to give you some connections as you move forward after this webinar, whether you want to visit our website, chat with any current students, or connect with our international team. You can find those links on this slide. Additionally, we encourage you to follow our admission team on all of their social channels to stay up to date with what's happening at the University of Guelph. So we'll now move into the Q&A portion of this session. So if you have any questions, please enter them in the chat. I don't know if this webinar, if they've allowed you to take off your camera or your mic abilities, but if you can and you feel like it, please turn on your camera and your mic and ask a question live, and we'll do our best to answer it directly in the webinar or in the chat. So if you have any questions, I can't see the chat room, so I'm hoping Leslie can see the chat room. So do we have any questions, Leslie, in the back end?
There's a couple of questions in there. There's one that I can take because it is admission related, but there's another one where a student's asking us to compare to University of Calgary, Manitoba, which I can't really do anything about that one. But I think your student can kind of help with that.
We can't really speak to other universities, even in Ontario. We don't know what they offer, how their programs differ from ours. All we know is the University of Guelph and what engineering is like. It is basically what we've shared today. There's a community feel at Guelph. We're very design focused. It's very hands-on. We encourage students to take on any experiential learning opportunities that they can, whether it be through a club or their own personal design projects that they want to do on the side, or you can do some research with faculty. Any students want to chime in? I know we can't speak to other universities, and most of you have already said the reasons why you've chose Guelph, but again, especially our international students, making that decision when you don't know the country as a whole to begin with, and now you have to choose a university. But there are environmental differences as well, climate differences. If you wanted to go out west, if you love the mountains, we don't have any mountains in Guelph. So that's one clear difference between Ontario and out west. But yes, does anyone have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I'll add to that. My whole research about all of the universities and makes me choose Guelph was, as I mentioned before, great university with extracurriculars. Have all the opportunities from sports or studies, clubs, events. Very optimal location, safest city in Canada, near to the airport. So my hometown here is Caledon, next to Brampton, so very close to that, very close to Toronto. So I feel like geographically, socially, academically, perfect university, and that's why it was my choice to join this.
Good answer. Any more questions in the chat?
Yeah, there's a few, and I'm working on them. So if you guys can open the Q&A and maybe help with some of the other ones, that'd be great. I'm working on the ones I can.
Okay, if there are any general admission questions that it would be helpful for all of the attendees to hear, feel free to sort of say the question out loud, and we'll try to answer it the best we can. But in the meantime, I'm going to sort of put a question out there for our panelists, our current students. Do you have any tips for students that are considering studying abroad? No one wants to jump in right away.
I can. I think so when I started, it was COVID, so therefore there was no like you could come in person and talk to anyone. So I found that there are lots of group chats on Instagram, there are lots of group chats on social media that align with your interests that you can find. So joining those group chats, making those friends before you come, I think that was one of the things that helped me the most, finding out what clubs are here and what clubs you want to join. Once you sign up for that club, they will email you like nobody's business. So you'll always know what's going on. Yeah, join a club, get on the email list is my biggest advice. Find that community here.
My tip to students would be to get the most of the University of Guelph. I'll say the university campus, the residence is one of the best thing where you can experience the utmost friendships you'll make, the best hospitality. The University of Guelph has the best hospitality in Canada, #1 on the rankings. I was on campus for 3 years. I think I explored everything of campus residence as a student and as a residence assistant. Now I'm living off campus, but I still regret my decision of leaving the university residence and coming to off campus. So my tip for coming to any of the universities in Canada, I'll say find your accommodation. A lot of students make this mistake that when you come here, then you'll find your accommodation and whatnot. But I'll say find that beforehand. And at University of Guelph, it's guaranteed residence for internationals, first-year students. So make use of that opportunity and live your best first year in a different home.
Those are some good tips, especially around the residence. And I'll just echo what Bevni said. Students are guaranteed, international students are guaranteed residence for first year. We do have a hand viewed. I can see the hand. I don't know if you're able to unmute and ask your question. I guess not. If you want to answer or ask it in the chat, and we'll answer it on camera for you.
Someone mentioned me, and I did do CAPE. Can't give you like all of the like admissions requirements, but I did do it.
Oh, I've answered the question. I've sent them the information about the CAPE requirements. That one's answered. But maybe can you answer this question here about study abroad opportunities for STEM students? Can you talk to that at all? Because
I have a friend who did it. You apply to do the study abroad, and then you go and you do it. You have to take credits while you're at that school. you kind of get to go anywhere you want to as long as it's on the list that they provide you with of where you can go. It does usually mean that you are, it's not like fully integrated because like schools in other countries don't always have the same like transfer credit like courses. So like it's not like guaranteed that if you go to England and you do calculus that you can come back and say that, okay, I've done calculus. But it's a great opportunity to see somewhere else. And yeah, I think that she has ended up having to do an extra semester because she left for one semester. But it's a beautiful opportunity and she has nothing but good things to say.
That's great. I know we're only at 9:06, but I'm just gonna try to field my own questions. When it comes to co-op, I know some of you have said that you have some co-op positions that you've really enjoyed. Does anyone have any co-ops that they're currently doing or some that they've done recently that they want to talk about?
I can start. I just completed an 8-month co-op over the summer and the last winter semester at an engineering consulting firm. It's called GHD. They're kind of international now, but I worked with the land development team. Um, so it kind of integrated a lot of civil engineering and it kind of seamlessly connected to the courses that I'm taking right now. So it was really cool that I got to do that experience before I'm taking some of the courses right now, like urban water systems design. Um, I like had such a great experience there. That was my first co-op experience. Um, and like I have like nothing bad to say about it because I learned so much from it and it was so like connected to my program. And I know like a lot of co-op students um don't kind of get that maybe with their first or second co-op experiences, but for me it was like completely interchangeable to like everything I've learned in school. So it was really cool to get the applications of what I've been learning and like just be able to apply everything I've learned. So it's kind of hard like when you're in school learning the theory and you just kind of like don't understand what this is for. And that's why I'm very grateful that I did do co-op because being able to actually apply what I've learned like just really helps me understand everything that I'm doing in school. Like it has a purpose.
What about you, Bevneet? Any interesting co-ops?
Yeah. Before that, I'll give a little bit of information on how co-ops work for students from a student perspective because while I was on a webinar before starting my university, I was curious about these things too. A lot of students will be working. How would we be prepared for co-op? And I'll tell them that we have a co-op 1100 course, 0 credits, which I was back home India at that time. I was doing remotely in my first summer. So I feel like that prepares you for a lot, how to make a resume, a cover letter, how to apply a job, how to look after a job, what are the requirements when you're applying co-op. When you begin co-ops, a co-op finds search term. So you have kind of 4 months because this semester before you start searching for your co-ops. Very good resource from university, Experience Guelph. I got both of my co-ops from Experience Guelph only. We have big companies here, big firms which you can apply. And interestingly, there are some companies who are just looking for University of Guelph students to hire as a co-op student. What knowledge I had before I applied my first co-op, I'll say nothing. There are a lot of co-op, co-op jobs which requires not a high level of tech knowledge, where you can just be a tester, an IT technician. And the best thing about the jobs here in Canada, whether it is any part-time job or a co-op job, is they teach you everything from scratch. Thinking you know nothing, they teach you everything. That was my experience. And that removes any anxiousness that we have of what we will do when we will be hired. But it was a great thing. My co-ops navigated me to different positions that I want to work in. My first co-op as IT technician with University of Guelph. I enjoyed my term there. I worked with the IT team fixing IT issues at University of Guelph, and that made me realize that I want to go for data side of engineering, which interested me more. So I went on to become a software data analyst with the company Discore. It's a betting company here. I enjoyed, I learned a lot, and there I realized my interest towards a software developer. So it's so funny that whenever I do a co-op, it makes me realize closer and closer to what I actually want to do. And now I'm looking for my next co-op as a software developer.
That's awesome. You've had a lot of experience, and I like that you pointed out that you started a co-op at Guelph as one of your first ones. We do, it's like the University of Guelph is like this little town within a larger city, and you can almost find everything you need at Guelph. So there's jobs available in all areas on campus. I noticed that all of our volunteer students today are fourth year. I think Naila is not in co-op, so is this your final year? So briefly talk about the excitement around Iron Ring. I know Iron Ring is a Canadian tradition and maybe not anything or not something that is familiar or something that they don't understand in other countries. I'm not sure on their knowledge of Iron Ring, but if you guys want to talk about your excitement of Iron Ring and what receiving an Iron Ring means to you.
I'm really excited. I'm a little nervous because graduating school is big, but I actually am still learning about the whole Iron Ring ceremony. I just found out that there was poetry involved and there's a big banging on some big ring. But it's a really cool tradition to someone from your year gets picked as like the person to like get this hammer and bang on this very large ring to prove that like, okay, well, as an iron ring deteriorates as an engineer continues through life, so does this. And I think, wow, didn't know that. But I am really excited. I think it's a really honorable tradition that we have kept here. I think the University of Guelph is the only one who does the iron ring ceremony like that. I think, yeah, I think it's a great honor. Like I have worked for my last 4 years to get this degree, and I think that getting that iron ring just proves like I did good work and I worked hard for it. So excited.
I guess I kind of skipped over a bit of the background for the attendees that don't even know what the iron ring is. But the iron ring is a small ring that you wear on your pinky of your dominant hand. It's supposed to rub against all the documents that you sign and reminding you of the pledge or the oath to ethics that you took as an engineer to always check your work multiple times based off of a story, a true story about a bridge disaster that happened in Quebec. Where many lives were lost. And so this tradition began in Canada where all engineers receive this iron ring. It is presented to graduates after their 4 or 5 years if they take co-op. It's, I think, more anticipated than graduation day, in my opinion, for students. They have a countdown that starts as early as next week, and it doesn't happen until March. So it is a closed ceremony. You only get to go to this ceremony if you're receiving a ring or if you have a ring. So hearing some of these things about the ceremony, sometimes I find kind of comical because I've never been, I never will go, and it's a closed secret society of sorts. But it's exciting, and seeing students get just in anticipation of receiving their ring. It's the trophy at the end of their graduate degree, and I think it's a very important thing to note. And I think that sort of ties the whole community feel together again at the end. So, and you'll see when you come to Guelph, if you choose to come to Guelph, we have a giant griffin statue, and in 2018 they put a ring on the griffin as a prank, and it's become a tradition now. So our big statue gets an iron ring on his talon every year in March for the weekend or 24 hours or so. So it's a pretty cool thing that is strictly to Guelph. Each university has their own thing centered around Iron Ring, but it's kind of cool that we have something too. Does anyone have anything else to add before we wrap things up? I know we're about 15 minutes early. Nothing to add?
I guess someone in the
What
chat,
about just social life? Oh, there's something in the chat?
someone asked about the cost of living in Guelph. I don't know if we want to talk about that.
I can sort of speak to Guelph. It's not a cheap place to live in Canada anywhere. When you compare Guelph to Toronto, Guelph is definitely more affordable than Toronto. It's not cheap. It can get pretty pricey. That's why first year in residence, I think, is the best option for all students, whether you're international or a domestic student. I think it's a really good option. Does anyone have anything to add on the cost of living in Canada, especially from an international perspective?
I would say that the school provides a lot of options. Like there's an off-campus housing website that allows you to like go and see what's available. There's also like I think it's still running, but it's like it's like the Canon, I think it's called, where you can like go on and find like affordable living there. I think that if you go out of your way to try and find it by yourself, you'll be stuck in a like less convenient position. But if you go through like resources the school provides, then usually it's not like the cheapest place you'll ever live, but it is like affordable. Like you'll find somewhere where you're comfortable.
I guess especially if you, after first year, students will typically, you get a lot of friendships, you have a friend group, and then you work together to find a place to live after that, often as roommates or housemates. Pavneet, you said that you live in Caledon, so you commute to school every day?
My family is in Caledon. My extended family is in Caledon, so I don't commute from there. I started doing that, but it felt like a bad decision for me to commute from that far distance. It's around 1.5 1 hour drive. But then I got a place next to university, an apartment here with my friends, and that was also a blessing of Canon, which Canon is a website which is designed by the university and the university student council partnership, and I feel like that it is the best resource for students where you get housing just for students with student discounted price at a lower price, because the owners know that it is the student who is looking for a place, so it makes very convenient and an affordable place to get housing for. Yeah, I feel like there, to me, also for cost of living, not a big deal. You get, I have always been employed with university as part-time, so a lot of expenses goes out from that. University helps a lot with part-time jobs too. They have a portal for on-campus job. They also helps you get some off-campus jobs too. So I feel like that has helped me navigate my way. And other than that, I believe a religious place for me here. Students from India might connect to that. A Sikh temple here where you can go have food and socialize with people, and that has helped me in the transition too.
Well, thanks for pointing that out too, because a lot of people think that, or they don't know how big Canada is. And even in Ontario, you can drive for 8 to 10 hours and still be in Ontario. So we're pretty big, but at the same time, you can drive 2 hours another way and be in the States. So it's important to note that too. So I think we're going to wrap this up. We will stay on in the back, Leslie and I, to answer any questions, but we will turn our cameras and mics off because we will be handling the chat. So please stay and put your questions in there and we'll answer them for you. So thanks for attending the Bachelor of Engineering breakout session, and we hope you enjoyed the STEM webinar.